Greetings, my name is Alex Rosario, and I'll be discussing Kate Chopin's Story of an Hour by historical approach. Before we begin, I would like to define what is historical criticism. Historical criticism focuses on understanding and analyzing the era in which the writer's work was produced. Its goal is to understand how people felt in the past. When we try to recreate the era in which the work was produced, we should take some factors in consideration, as in social, cultural, and intellectuals. When applying historical criticism, we have to ask questions like, how was society living during the era? Was there a certain idea or topic in which people were against or in favor of? Was education accessible for everyone in a moment? For example, did women had a right for education or no? These questions help us shape the era in which they live and further understand the influences the author could have had in producing this type of work. As we know, Kate Chopin's story was written in the 1890s. In the 1890s was a very important moment in the US history. Women's suffrage movement was taking the country by storm. The women's suffrage movement was originally founded to abolish slavery and give citizenship to black people and women, but after they completed their first goal, their first objective after the Civil War, they focused on the women's rights, especially on the divorce laws, women having the right to go to office and vote as well, and end the discrimination in pay and employment. Women were second class citizens. They were inferior to everyone, especially in marriage. As we see that this movement was trying to fight for that right, as women had to be equals as the man, and they had a successful battle when, in 1857, the Matrimonial Causes Act gave women the access to divorce. Normally, marriage was a one-way street, or as Kate Chopin could say, a right to impose a private will upon a fellow creature. The husband had all the power in the marriage, and women had to please the man and serve him, as he provided for the family with economically, while the woman provided the man with cooking, with cleaning, and pleasuring when he had the chance. Women were, as I mentioned, second class citizens. They were inferior to the men, and this movement really helped them and favored women, especially when this came. Women now had the right to divorce. Previously, they couldn't divorce, so now they could be free of abusive relationship that could have been created because the man taking too much power to his hands. Another point is the Civil War. Kate Chopin was Kate Chopin's husband was part of the Civil War, in which he was a wealthy plantation owner, and after he died, Kate Chopin had to take over the plantation. But since she was a second-class citizen for society, the plantation fell eventually because people didn't take her seriously, and she had to flee to the north. This really shaped her idea, especially supporting the women's suffrage in terms of abolishing slavery, since she was deeply affected about the Civil War. Besides that, in the story of an hour, we see a pretty beginning moment in the exposition as the death of Miss Mallory is announced that he had died in a railroad disaster. Well, surprisingly, Kate Chopin's father as well died in a railroad accident over the Gasconade River after the bridge collapsed. In conclusion, we can see how all of these social and historical moments, as the women's suffrage and the Civil War, could have easily influenced Kate Chopin in not only Story of an Hour but many other writing pieces. Kate Chopin, we could say that she had very strong feministic beliefs. She had very life-changing perspectives, and her thoughts on divorce and freedom were quite liberal on a very conservative society that was the 1800s and the 1900s in the United States. That's why we can regard as Kate Chopin was one of America's greatest female writers. And that's about it about the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. This was again Story of an Hour by a Historical Approach. My name is Alex Rosario, and I want to thank you all. Have a good day.